This is Dave, and I'm here with Ethan, and together we are Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al Podcast, episode 9-inch.
On this episode, we kick off a month-long celebration of our favorite movie of all time, UHF. We started off with an interview with Susan McNabb, who has a very memorable role in the UHF music video, and we talk about our personal UHF collections.
It's Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al Podcast.
It's a podcast about Weird Al.
It's Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al Podcast.
Seriously, the whole podcast is about Weird Al.
Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al Podcast.
You don't have to listen, but we're glad you are.
Dave and Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al Podcast.
I love our amazing theme song, performed by Grammy-nominated Jim Kimo West.
It is the best theme song of all time.
It is the best theme song. I was going to say, did you hear that Jim's putting out a new single next week?
I cannot wait. Paniolo Starlight? I don't know how to pronounce that.
I think it's Paniolo Starlight.
Paniolo Starlight. Yeah, and so that comes out on July 10th. I'm sure it's going to be on iTunes or anywhere that music singles are sold. I cannot wait.
Any music by Jim is absolutely always welcome. So we had some... we knew we were going to get some passionate feedback from our top 5 Dare to Be Stupid songs list, but I cannot believe the comments we've gotten so far.
I knew that there was going to be some controversy. I don't know if I thought it was going to be this overwhelming. What's really crazy is everyone seems to disagree with one of our song choices, and that is Girls Just Want to Have Lunch. But everyone who disagrees with it comes back with a different song that they think should have been there in its place. So I don't know that we didn't completely miss the mark, because it's not like everyone's like, oh my God, George of the Jungle should have been on there. Everyone has their own opinion. So I think what that means, Dave, is we at least got 4 really right. And that 5th one is just kind of a wild card.
Well, you know what? I stand by our list. I think it's good. I will admit I'm getting some flack at home because I did not include Dare to Be Stupid on my list. And I'm also hearing about how Slime Creatures was severely missing from our list too. But, I stand by our list. I think we did a good list.
Every song, Slime Creatures or... I Want a New Duck, any of those, they're great songs. And I hope people know that we're not saying they are not great songs by not including them in our top 5. It's just we had to pick. We only had so much time. There's only 5.
We had to get down to 5. So, of course, if you don't know what we're talking about, if you haven't heard our list yet, you can listen on episode 8-inch. And we want to hear your feedback. And you can do that by sending it to us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, at 2000-inch.
And even on Facebook, we have a Facebook group, and you can join it. And other fans and you can talk. And I guess it's a little bit more private than just tweeting it out on your Instagram. I don't know. I don't fully understand it, but we made it. And to show you that we're really keeping up with the times, we have a brand new way to do feedback, because Dave and I were talking, people can leave messages, but you leave a message on Facebook or Instagram as a comment, we read it and we get a chuckle out of it, or we enjoy and respond to it, but there's no way for the listening audience to hear it necessarily. I mean, they could go and they could read it and search for it. So we thought there needed to be a way for people to leave us voicemail messages. And what better way to do it than a 24/7 audio inbox that you can call right from your cell phone. You can tell us what you agree with, disagree with on our top 5 list. Let us know what's on your mind. You get a funny Weird Al story. Just want to tell us hi. Get your pens out. We made it super easy, but get your pens out. The number is, Dave, can we have a drum roll, please?
Sure.
It is 347 spatula. It's honest to God an actual phone number, 347-772-8852, and that spells 347 spatula. And you can call it and you can leave us messages, and maybe we'll play them on the air.
Yeah, again, we want to hear from you. That is just so cool. That number again, 347 spatula. And we'll put that up on our social media and our website too. But definitely feel free to call it anytime you've got something you want to tell us.
And maybe even if someone goes to a Weird Al show that we're not at, or even if we are at it, call in and give us a quick review. We'd love to hear it, and maybe we can even put them in one of our bonus episodes.
Yeah, who knows? You may hear yourself on a future episode.
Well, let's get down to UHF.
Yes. Can you believe it? 30 years ago, our favorite movie, UHF, made its theatrical debut.
Do you know where I was 30 years ago, Dave?
Yes, I do. You were not born yet. You rub that in all the time. So this movie's older than you, Ethan.
It is.
It's still your favorite movie, though, right?
It is, yeah. I was born knowing my favorite movie. See, you were born and you had to live for a while before you got to see your favorite movie. I was born and it was already in the universe.
Yeah, I had to wait almost 15 years before I had a favorite movie. If you can believe that. Yeah, so this movie was released July 21st, 1989. And in the 30 years since its release, it's become a huge cult classic and really a rite of passage for any Weird Al fan to watch. I mean, it's a great family movie. And I mean, yes, technically it's rated PG-13, but it kind of got that rating back when the whole rating system was new and they were being really conservative with their ratings. If you kind of compare it to today's standards, it should easily get a PG. It's great for family nights and it's insanely funny.
I don't even I'm just like, as you said, it's a PG-13. I don't think I ever realized that because there's really nothing PG-13 about it. There's no swearing. I mean, someone gets staples in their face, but that's I mean, there's not even blood. That's so crazy. I can't think of a reason why.
Yeah, I mean, I think it got the rating because of the whole scene with Emo Phillips and the thumb, and also the fact that there was some implied animal abuse with the poodles flying out the window and the turtle being stuck on the ceiling.
That's true.
So yes, but they're all done humorously and they're fun, and I don't think people are going home and throwing poodles out a window, So
we'll hope not.
we do not condone throwing poodles out a window. I just want to put that out there.
I can't. Yeah, I mean, I really cannot believe it's 30 years. I mean, not being 30, still, it's hard to believe that UHF's been around as long as it has. I'm excited to celebrate UHF. I mean, I think you and I would be happy to celebrate UHF at any time, but being that it is literally a 30-year anniversary right when we're starting the podcast, it's so great. So we are dedicating the whole month to UHF. We are going to be talking to the guy who wrote the score to the film, John Dupre. He also did the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and he did a lot of stuff with Monty Python. And we're also talking to, among others, David Bowe, who of course plays Bob and Bobo the Clown. We've got some really cool interviews coming up this month.
And don't forget Susan McNabb, who we talked to later in this episode.
I am so excited to talk to her. I'm so excited for everyone to hear the great interview we had with her. But first, Dave, I think we should talk about, we talk about being collectors and we have huge collections. And let's talk about some of our cool UHF related things.
Oh, I get to talk about my collection. This is so great. This is like the moment I've been waiting for all the entire podcast
since episode 1 inch.
I'm gonna nerd out so much over this. This is gonna be great.
I was thinking, we've got a whole month to talk about UHF stuff. Let's just talk about actual film related things. So we'll leave out the album and the singles. We'll just talk UHF, the home releases and promotional items for the releases. So
okay, that should narrow it down to about 2-3 hours.
Well, I think when it comes to the actual physical releases of UHF, for me, I don't know where it started. I mean, obviously you got to see it before I did, but I wanted to see it. I became a fan of Weird Al, and I heard he had the movie, and this was before Netflix, so I ended up tracking down a VHS copy on eBay, and it's so funny because I got it, and they had put labels on top of it covering what it was. I think the person was getting ready to record over it, like just to use it as a blank tape. But luckily, like, someone got some sense. Was like, oh, actually, maybe I can get $5 for this on eBay. And then I got it, and then, you know, wore it out watching it a million times as a kid. But VHS UHF was the first way I ever saw it or owned it.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that because VHS was also the first way, believe it or not, that I actually saw it. I never saw it in the theater just because it was in and out so fast.
Right.
I didn't get a chance to
Right.
get there, and there were so many other blockbusters that year. But I saw it also the first time on VHS, and I remember what I rented my cousin and I rented a copy from the local rental place downtown, and we brought it home, and we hooked up two VCRs next to each other, and we copied it onto a homemade tape. And I had that homemade tape,
God.
which I watched over and over again. I still have it somewhere in my collection, and it's got like UHF on it, and I don't know what else is on there, but there's some other stuff that I recorded, on it after UHF. But I remember just watching, because this way I didn't have to keep going back to the rental store place and watching it over and over again. I could just watch it, at my convenience because I taped it off of.
Yeah, so you effectively pirated a copy of UHF.
Yes. I'm hoping the statute of limitations is over on that because I'm admitting to this in public now.
I think those who own the rights to UHF, I think that they, especially after hearing this segment, if they heard you admit that, they're going to hear you talk about how many copies of it you legitimately own. So,
I more than made up for it.
So VHS, I'm sure that they put out VHS in other countries. Do you have other releases?
Oh, there are a lot of different releases of UHF. Off of the top of my head, I know that there's one in Canada, which is really pretty cool because it's actually got a French subtitles on it, and it's called UHF Tele Ringards. I'm hoping I'm saying that my French right. There was a version it released in the UK, which I have. There was also a version released in Germany, and this one's got a little slightly different title to it. It's called UHF Sender mit Beschränkter Hoffnung.
Yeah, that sounds
right. I probably
right.
butchered that one too. But yeah, that's actually pretty cool. And believe it or not, there are a couple others. There is a copy in Japan, which is really pretty neat.
Whoa! Do you have that one?
Yeah, I do have that. The Japan copy, absolutely.
I'm just gonna assume anything you're talking about you have.
Oh yeah. I'm talking about stuff in my collection. Okay. Yeah, it's kind of cool. It's got some Japanese writing on it, and then UHF underneath, and the entire I can't read Japanese, but the entire back of the it's in one of those clamshell cases. The entire back of the J card, I guess, or whatever it's called, is in Japanese.
That's cool. I don't think I've even seen one of those. That's really cool.
Yeah, that's definitely a cool one. And there's also a really cool one from Israel.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is it in Israelish?
Yes. It's in Israelish. Yes, the cover's in Israelish.
Yes. Okay. We don't need to go any further. I've correctly identified it.
Yeah, and actually, what's cool about that is the front of it is and all these also have slightly different covers than the U.S. version of the VHS. This is again in another clamshell, and in Hebrew, it has written a whole bunch of stuff on the front, which I can't read, and a whole bunch of, and the back is entirely.
I can read it, Dave.
Hebrew.
It says UHF.
That's a lot, but the cool thing is that it's kind of because Hebrew is kind of written from right to left, so you can kind of tell that it's written from right to left.
Oh, so it says FHU.
Well, the title itself is UHF.
Oh, okay.
But the Hebrew, because it says kind of where you can see where it's copyright 1989 is kind of 1989, and then I guess what says copyright in Hebrew or Israelish.
Or Rapi Kite.
Yes. All right.
Always time for spoonerisms.
Yes. Then I do want to also point out that there is a version from Italy too, which is subtitled "I Video Idioti."
Dave, I have a suggestion for you.
Yes.
I think that you should just record over all of these. Just you can just put stickers on them and just record Wheel of Fortune on there. I think.
I'll get on that.
All right. Well, okay. So after.
Well, before we move on, though,
go
there's one more kind of cool VHS thing which I want to point out. Is that there's actually a trailer and screening preview of UHF, which is also available on VHS.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's in a pretty generic white box, and it's got Orion plastered all over it, and it's got kind of it's got the back of it kind of explains it's kind of obviously trying to sell the movie, trying to sell the VHS,
right?
So it's really pretty cool.
Cool.
But yeah, I wanted to point that out. It kind of falls under the VHS category.
I would say it would. It also could have fallen under promo items, Dave, but I will let that slide. Let's talk about DVDs. So, I loved when it came out on DVD because that meant I didn't have to watch the VHS that was covered in stickers and falling apart at that point. And the one thing I wanted to say about DVD is, of course it came out on DVD, UHF, but only a couple years ago I saw in one of the collecting groups on Facebook, someone posted a picture of their, how they put out those DVDs like at Target and it's like 4 different movies on one DVD?
Yes.
So someone posted that as part of their collection, and I'm not at your level, obviously, of collecting, but I try to collect literally anything possible that I can Weird Al related. And when I saw someone post that, I realized that I had seen those in stores and never thought to add it to the collection. And I felt so stupid. I was like, wait, I literally had seen these. I had an opportunity to get them at retail cost for like $10 or whatever it was. And I just saw it and it's like, oh, I already have it on Blu-ray or DVD. And it's I don't know what I was thinking. I guess it just, in my mind, it wasn't a collectible thing. It was just a way to watch the movie. But as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, crap. So I have since collected. I had to go and buy them on eBay for more than retail price. But I have it. I think I don't have it in front of me, but I know one has like Dodgeball, the movie, on it. I think one even has...
I think one... Biodome on it, I think. Yeah,
which is so ironic because Al talks about Biodome in Albuquerque. So
yeah, that's for someone who's really wants one of everything. You got to track down those. They're like I said, they were just put out for kind of just to get these movies out there. And they were pretty inexpensive when they were in there. They were like in the a couple dollars, like $5-10.
I think they were,
unless you buy them on eBay,
right? Then you're paying more than that. But yeah, I think that they were released at Target and Walmart, if I remember correctly.
That sounds about right.
It could have been other places too, but I remember seeing them in Target and Walmart and not buying them.
Yeah, so some other cool DVD releases, since we're talking about them, is there's actually again the German release, which I'm going to say it again, Sender mit Beschränkter Hoffnung. Please, somebody correct me on that.
People are going to call 347 Spatula and correct us on all of these pronunciations.
Yes, someone who speaks German, who speaks Italian, who speaks Israelish.
Yes.
please call and correct us on our pronunciations. And then, of course, there is also an Italian version of the DVD, which is iVideo. Actually, this is kind of funny because it's got a slightly different title on the DVD than it does on the VHS. And the DVD is called iVideoti.
Oh, is it because I've seen it called like the Vidiot from UHF or
Yeah, that roughly, yeah. Overseas, this movie was called the Vidiot from UHF because they really didn't know what UHF was.
right.
So it didn't translate great overseas, but there's still a lot of different versions of it.
Apparently, very popular in Germany. The one can we skip to Blu-ray? I wanted to mention there's a German-only Blu-ray release. It's this really cool special edition. It comes with like a 20 or 30-page full-color book, and I wish I could read it, but I can't. I wish I could pronounce it, but I can't. But that is a really cool thing, and that came out only a couple years ago. But of course, they did also a couple years ago put out an official Blu-ray release in America.
Yes. The 25th anniversary edition was released on Blu-ray. That's 5 years ago.
Oh, yeah, that's easy to do. That's easy math to to figure out.
I wonder if they're going to come out with a 30th anniversary edition on, I don't know, some other format. It hasn't been invented yet.
It's just going to be on Netflix, and we can't collect it. That's the problem, is with things moving off of physical releases, it's hard for people like you and I to collect them. I mean, we can have them, in the in the ether of the internet, but you can't really display that.
True.
Do you have any other Blu-ray releases that you know of?
No, I'm not aware of any other Blu-rays other than the ones that you mentioned. I guess there is. There is a UK version of the Blu-ray as well.
Okay.
But no, I don't. There's other than that, I think that pretty much covers the Blu-ray. There is one more format that I'm not sure if people are really aware is out there because it hasn't been. It's not really all that common, and that is a Laserdisc. There's a Laserdisc version of this.
Yeah, Laserdisc. I think before I started collecting Weird Al stuff, I had never seen a Laserdisc in person, and it's really bizarre. It's the size. If you've never seen a Laserdisc, it is about the size of a vinyl LP, but it looks like a DVD. So it's just a really big DVD, and you have to flip it over halfway through. I've never watched a Laserdisc. I have them, but have you ever watched a Laserdisc?
No, I have multiple Laserdiscs, including the UHF Laserdisc, but I just don't have any way to play them. I never tracked down a Laserdisc player, so I just assume they're working.
Yes, people could be scamming us so bad on eBay. They're just like getting a DVD and stretching it out over a fire, and they're like, yeah, this is a Laserdisc. I have a funny story. I bought a Weird Al Laserdisc. I think it was UHF, and it was listed very inexpensively on eBay because typically those go for at least $50 or more, and it was listed for like $15-$20, and it was the Weird Al Laserdisc, and it was Rocky Horror Picture Show on Laserdisc, and it was like the auction was like Rocky Horror Picture Show, and also a Weird Al thing. Like the guy, like he totally just like he had two things, and he thought the Rocky Horror was the only one that would sell, so he just kind of like threw them together. So I, of course, snatched it up real quick, and I'm thinking, what am I going to do with a Rocky Horror Laserdisc? Because they're really not worth much. So I had sent it to my work, and I used to work at a theater, and so it was just at my desk. I didn't really know what to do with it. I figured I could give it away at, we did like cult movie screenings. So then a few months go by, and we have Barry Bostwick in the theater with a screening of Rocky Horror, and we're at the meet and greet, And he goes, "Hey, if anyone has anything, I'd be happy to sign it before I head out." And then I remembered I have Rocky Horror Laserdisc on my desk, so I ran and got it. And it just a crazy fluke. This random free thing I had with a Weird Al purchase, I actually got to have signed by one of the stars of the film. So that was kind of cool. Not completely Al related, but kind of apropos for our conversation.
Very cool.
Yeah. So VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, Laserdisc, that is not all of them.
No, you're missing one. Now, this one, I would be surprised if very many people have this at all. But there actually was a Betamax release of UHF.
So crazy.
And yes, I have it. And no, I do not have a Betamax player. So I have not watched it. Yeah, it's kind of cool. For a while back, when VHS and Betamax first came out, they were really kind of competing each other for the market, and I guess VHS is the one that caught on. But some people really kind of stuck with the Betamax and insisted on that, so they put out movies for Betamax for a while, and we're fortunate enough to get one, UHF. Basically, the cover looks exactly the same as the VHS cover, the US one, except it's got a sticker on it that says Beta. and in the inside of the actual box itself, there's a little divider which is sized down to fit the Beta, because the Beta Max is smaller than
so
the
it's
actual VHS. Yeah.
So the box is the same VHS box. They just stuck a divider in, is what you're saying?
Pretty much.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I definitely want to get one of those. I don't think I've ever even seen one. You're gonna have to show me. That's a really cool item to have.
Yeah, definitely.
Now you just need it in Israelish, and
as far as I know, that one was only released in the U.S.
Okay.
So there is no Sender mit Beschränkter Hoffnung version on Betamax that I'm aware of.
I wanted to talk about a couple like promotional items that we have. So the first one I want to talk about is, I remember a few years ago, I searched something odd on eBay. Like sometimes I won't just type in Weird Al, I'll type in some weird combination of that. And I found this guy who was selling German UHF lobby cards, and it were only a couple bucks, and I bought it immediately because it was so cool. It's like the very vibrant artwork, and I think they came in sheets of 9, and then at the movie theater in Germany they would separate them, put them in a stack, and people could pick them up when they're going to see other movies, and it kind of would promote UHF. There's like I assume a synopsis on the back. It's really cool. So I got one. I was like, wow, this is really great. And I'm starting to think like, it's perforated. I wonder if I could eventually get all 9 in the sheet and frame it or something. And as luck would have it, like after I get it in the mail the next day, the same guy put another one on eBay. So I immediately I wrote to him. I'm like, dude, I don't know how many of these you have. I will take all of them. And he sold me all of them.
Oh, wow.
And I probably have like 6 or 7 of them. And then I remember a few years later, the same guy, he found another one, put it up on eBay. He forgot about me, and I bought it.
So Ethan's got the market cornered on German
That's
UHF
right.
lobby cards.
And I think I eventually, I don't know if I gave one to you. I definitely gave one to Bermuda at some point because he said he didn't have it, and I wanted it to be in the official collection. So I don't have the full 9, but I'm happy to part with them for super collectors, of course.
Yeah, I think I have 1 or 2 of those myself, and they're really cool. They're kind of just this little paper piece that doesn't take up a lot of room at all in your collection. So
and it's really good to get framed because it's so small, and like you said, it doesn't take up a lot of space.
Yeah.
I think I've had Al sign one, and it's just a cool little thing, good for a desk.
Yeah, there is since we're on the promo items, and I had already mentioned the UHF trailer on VHS.
Yeah.
There's one more thing I do want to mention is that I'm considering this a promo item, even though I guess it really isn't, is that there was a 35 millimeter trailer of UHF, which, if you search hard enough for, you can still track down copies every once in a while. They're basically the when you go to the movies and they have the previews.
Right.
And before everything was digital, they had everything printed out on 35 millimeter, and they would kind of spool up a few of these before whatever the movie was. And this is the one to kind of promote UHF, and it's really pretty cool and one of my favorite items in my collection.
Have you unrolled it, like, to look at the frames?
I've unrolled it enough to look to see that it is actually
Okay.
UHF.
You haven't, like,
no.
digitally scanned each and every frame and recreated it on the computer? You haven't done that?
No, but I'm sure somebody has.
If anyone wants to do that, give us a call. 347 Spatula. I'm just kidding. So another cool thing, and do you know the story behind the glasses?
Yeah, actually, there are glasses that were made for UHF, and they were just put out as a promotional item. And there was a whole bunch of other little promotional items that they had, like little maybe stickers or postcards or things like that. But these glasses seemed to be really popular, and they were kind of given out at the debut of the movie, as it made to each theater, and I guess they were just given out for the theaters to do with what they wanted with. And they're basically they're made to look like 3D glasses. They're not really 3D.
Yeah, it's just it's like a dark lens.
Yeah, like a dark lens. You can't use it to look at an eclipse or anything like that.
Believe us, we've tried. We are blind.
They're not rated for eclipse. Or they're not even really relate. I wouldn't even use them as sunglasses. But they're basically paper glasses with, like I said, a little darkened piece of plastic for the over the eyes, and they're meant to be kind of worn a couple times and discarded or whatever. But they are pretty cool. They come in they come in 4 different colors.
Well, so they do come in 4, but a funny story about that. I remember the first ones I had were pink, or at least I saw them on eBay in pink, and so I only knew of the pink ones. And I mean, the poster and the artwork for UHF is kind of pink, so it made sense to have pink. But then I remember someone was selling green, pink, and yellow on eBay, and
Yes.
I needed them. I decided I needed them, but they were selling multiples. So, Dave, this was a couple years ago. We teamed up, and we decided that instead of bidding against each other, that we would work together and split them up. So we did that, and we thought we had the whole set until Squeezebox came out. And I think you're the one who noticed this before I did.
Yeah, well, right. The 3 different colors were the green, the pink, and the yellow. And we had a whole bunch of them. We split them up between myself, Ethan, and a friend of ours, Amanda. Split them up, and I still have a bunch of them left. But yeah, in the squeeze box, I was looking at the artwork in there, and when I got to the UHF page, I'm looking, I'm saying, there's a pair of glasses in here, and they look like they're orange.
And it makes sense because it's neon green, it's neon pink, it's neon yellow, and the other, like, quote unquote common neon color is orange. So yes, there was a 4th one.
So I think I immediately kind of I emailed Bermuda, and I was like, hey, are those orange UHF glasses? And he confirmed that they were. And of course my next question was, do you have an extra one? And he confirmed that he didn't. So there is one in his collection, and that was the one that was filmed. He confirmed that was the one that was or taken pictures of for the squeeze box on the page for UHF. But I said, that's pretty rare because I know about the green, I know about the pink, I know about the yellow. I've never heard about this orange before. And then I was talking also to Jeff, who is our guest on episode 3-inch, about these glasses. And he had mentioned that he was pretty sure that he had a pair of orange glasses. And I was like, whoa. And then he confirmed that, he confirmed, I do have a pair. And he said, and I said, where did you get those? And he said, oh, they were given out, opening night of UHF when we went. I went with a friend. I wonder if my friend still has his pair. So
amazing.
So he called up his friend and confirmed that the friend that he went to the show with, his friend says, "Yeah, I still have those glasses." And he's like, "You know what, Jeff, I'll give them to you. You're going to appreciate them more." And so Jeff said, "Well, I'll give them to Dave because I know Dave's going to want them." And so his friend's like all excited, gives him the glasses, sends him the glasses. And Jeff gets these glasses, and I set up a trade with him. I'll give you, I forget what color Jeff wanted, the pink or the green maybe, because I think the green's a little rarer of the colors. I'll trade you for the orange one. And he's like, "Okay, great." So when he got the glasses, he kind of sent me an email or text and said, "Dave, I can't trade you these glasses." Wait, you have to trade me these glasses. He's like, no, you don't understand.
Well, because Dave, to you, it's like it's the Infinity Gauntlet for Avengers. It's like you have the three, you need the fourth one,
exactly.
And now you're hearing that he won't trade you.
So I'm like, "Jeff, what is the problem? Why won't you trade me? I'll throw in some other stuff. What do you want? You want money? What do you want? Just tell me." And so Jeff's like, "Well, I can't trade you because these glasses are destroyed. My friend, I don't know what he did to them, but they are destroyed." I said, "Jeff, it can't be that bad." He goes, No, you don't understand. These glasses are just like terrible. They're ripped, they're folded, they're crumpled up. I don't know what my friend did. He ran over them with a truck. I have no idea how. They're just horrible shape. I in good conscience, I cannot send these to you. I said, "Jeff, they can't be that bad. Send them to me. We'll do the trade. I know you're a collector like us, so everything's got to be perfect, mint condition. I understand. Okay, it's got a few creases on it, whatever. I'm fine with that." No. So Jeff's like, "No." I said, "I'm calling off the trade. I'll send you the glasses, free of charge, nothing. Just get your hopes lower." I'm like, "No, we're doing the trade, whatever." He said, No. I don't want to do the trade. I can't." I'm like, "Okay." So he sends me the glasses. I'm like, "They can't be that bad." I get the glasses. I'm like, "Oh, the glasses are here." Like the mail comes. I open them up and I just cried.
They can't be that bad, can they?
They are destroyed. They are destroyed. They're so fragile that I can't even take them out of the envelope for fear of the fact that they're going to fall apart.
I think it's amazing. I mean, let's just take a step back. These paper flimsy glasses they gave out in 1989, like, unless you're a super collector at that point, why are you holding on to that? First of all, it's like it's
right.
It's just like it's a garbage thing. Like, what are you going to do with it? So it's amazing that any of these still exist, but then it's amazing even further that on one hand Jeff preserved them and like had the foresight to like keep them nice, and even the fact that his friend has these destroyed things, the fact that he still had it like almost 30 years later is pretty amazing.
Yes, and I'm very grateful that I have them in my collection, but I almost wish the friend had thrown them away and not told Jeff about it.
Well, now there's an asterisk in your collection next to the orange ones.
I'm going to put this out there. If anybody has an extra set of orange UHF glasses, please contact me.
And, well, hey, Dave, you have one. I don't have any orange ones, so contact me first.
I will give you my pair of glasses.
Okay, fair enough.
That Jeff gave to me.
Yeah, I think what we should do, you'll get your good orange ones, then I'll have it. Then I'll get my good orange ones, and I'll give it to another collector. Let's just pass those around until they turn into dust. I think that's the good plan. So, yeah. Dave, I know you also have something really cool. I never saw it. I know you were showing me some cool stuff in your collection, and you told me about something, but I don't know if you've even seen it in a while.
No. So what happened was, again, as they're promoting this movie, they're sending stuff out to the theaters that, things like the lobby cards, the promotional glasses, and that kind of stuff. They also sent out to, I don't know how many they've made and how many they sent out, but you've seen them in the movie theaters. They're these giant standees, to promote the movie. Well, there was one made for UHF. And back in 2000, I was able to, believe it or not, track down one of these lobby displays. And let me tell you that I don't remember where I got it from. I don't remember how much I paid, but I do remember, that like this was like one of like at the time probably like the holy grail in my collection because it was like no one had ever seen one before, and I was lucky enough to kind of track this thing down.
And again, those kind of things, once they're set up, like who's going to go through the trouble of folding it perfectly? They just toss those out.
Yeah, they usually just throw those in the dumpster in the back, or sometimes maybe the film company will want that back, but generally they're just trash it.
Yeah.
So the fact that the one that I have was used, in a movie, used in a movie theater, but the fact that then somebody had the foresight to kind of save that, and preserve it at least until the year 2000 when they decided to get rid of it. What was like is amazing in itself. So I get this, and it's this huge box that comes, and I'm still living with my parents at the time, and it comes to my parents' house, and I'm like, oh, this is great, and like I get this, and I'm like, oh wow, that box is big, okay. I didn't realize this thing was really big. All right, well, you know what? I'm going to set it up. This thing is so cool. So I kind of, find room in my parents' dining room, and I lay everything out on the floor, and it's like it's a puzzle to put this thing together. So I'm putting this thing together, so many different pieces, and I build this thing, and it is huge. And I'm like, all right. So I think I took a few pictures of it, and I said, all right, I'm putting this back in the box, and I've never opened it up again since.
I don't blame you. I mean, where are you going to put that?
So yes, I still have it in my collection. It's still in the original box it was shipped in. And so, yeah, there's a reason why you didn't see it when you were over here. So I would love to set it up again sometime and take better pictures of it.
That would, yeah.
But it's definitely, unless I decide to put an extra wing on my house to house my Weird Al collection, there's just no room for it.
I think that people should start sending us money, and we will start the Dave and Ethan's 2,000-inch Weird Al museum, and we will set up that.
Yeah,
That's all we're going to put in there, unfortunately.
That's all that's going to fit.
It's going to be a very small museum. It's going to be a shed behind Dave's house.
And you can come and take your picture with it.
Wish you were here. We'll have postcards.
Postcards and miniature standees.
Yes.
And window decals and anything else they'll sell us.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Ethan, there's so much more we could talk about the movie UHF. I think we've covered quite a bit on the film. Maybe later on this month we'll cover a little bit on the CD, the cassettes, the singles, and everything else that we haven't covered yet. But coming up next, we talk to Susan McNabb.
I am very excited to welcome a very special guest to the program. She was in the UHF music video. Please welcome Susan McNabb. How's it going, Susan?
Hi, great. It's great to be here.
What an excellent credit to have.
Well, thank you. Who knew this would happen 30 years later? You'd want to talk to me about this. It's fabulous.
Are we the first people to want to talk to you about the UHF appearance?
Yes, you are.
Excellent.
Other than, like my husband.
Well,
yeah.
So, I'm sure that this is, as you said, the first time talking about UHF, but you have been in a lot of things. You were in Billy Joel's We Didn't Start the Fire music video. I'm sure that's what people ask you about.
Yes, I have been interviewed about that one before, yeah. That was a big one.
Not as big as UHF, so...
Well, I don't know, but it's pretty big.
Now, when you tell people you're in the UHF music video, do you have to clarify, well, not the movie UHF, but the music video that was put out for the song that was put out for the movie?
You know, it's funny. I usually just say I was in a Robert Palmer parody. I hardly ever think of it as the UHF video, but I guess that's how I should refer to it. I'm doing it wrong, but sorry. Yeah, but I think of it as the Robert Palmer parody because that's just the little part that I was in. So
right.
It's all about me. So.
Yeah, right. And the little parody clip, of course, was the Robert Palmer's "Addicted to Love" segment. That you
That's
had done,
correct.
right? And I ask you a couple questions, but since you brought up about your husband, what does your husband think about you being in this music video?
Um, that's a good question too. I don't know. I should ask him.
You guys don't talk about it on a daily basis?
Well, yeah, I mean, it doesn't come up at every meal, but I mean, he knows, before I was married, I had this crazy Hollywood life and I did a lot of interesting things. And so, yeah, he knows, and he's also a big Weird Al fan, of course.
Oh, wonderful.
We all are. And actually, we used to see him when I lived in LA. We used to see Weird Al all the time. We used to go to lunch at Soup Plantation in the Beverly Connection. That was one of our favorite places. And Al was always in there. Al, like I know him, Mr. Mr. Yankovic was there with his wife and daughter. And I would constantly go, I'm going to go say hello. I'm going to go talk to him. I'm just going to go, introduce myself. Oh, no, I'm too scared. I never did. And my husband was always like, just go say hello to him. I'm like, no, I was too embarrassed. So I never did. But we saw him all the time
That's
at lunch.
amazing. You would have had to hold your finger up over your lip for him to recognize you, I think.
That's right. I wasn't wearing my mustache in class.
That's right.
So yeah, he wouldn't have known me. But he looks exactly the same. This was literally 20, 25 years after the video. And I couldn't believe how he's identical. He hasn't aged a day. It's amazing.
He's a clone. That's what we've decided.
Yeah, I think you might be right. Yeah. Or maybe a vampire. I don't know.
Oh, true. We're true.
That's true.
We will get to vampires in this interview.
Oh,
but
Yes, we'll talk a lot about vampires.
But I have so many questions about how did you, what is the story? How did you get picked for the UHF video?
That's a good question. And I don't really remember. I called, I don't know if you know the other women in the video, Kathy Foy and Dana Williams and Linda Ashton. And the fifth girl, I don't know her name. She was a friend of Al's, and I don't remember her name. But the other three girls were really good friends of mine. And I actually called Kathy Foy this morning and said, do you remember the audition? Because I don't. Oh, wait, my dog's going to bark. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
My dog's barking. He doesn't understand about technology. Be quiet when you're on the phone. But anyway, so Kathy didn't remember either. And I looked in you're not going to believe this, but I saved all of my day runners from my calendars from when I was living in LA.
No way.
Oh yeah, I have them all. And it's amazing what little details that you can pull out that you don't necessarily remember, but that you can have access to if you kept all of your calendars like I did. So I looked it up, and it was on June 21st, 1989. That's the day that we shot it. And as far as I can tell, the audition was on the 15th. The audition says, my notes for the audition say, it's this Prince music video, Robert Palmer type. And I thought, that's got to be it, because it was like a few days before the shoot, and I asked Kathy, she was like, yeah, that sounds about right. And I could see where you would get the agents and the casting people would get the Prince thing mixed up with, right, because there was a Prince segment in there.
Yep.
So anyway, so that's apparently I auditioned for it, but I don't really remember the details of the audition. But we all booked it. We were all very excited to book it, of course. And we went to work. We got paid $200. Again, this is all in my notes.
Wow. These are amazing
and
notes.
It even says it was 12:30 to 5:30, and it says after 5 hours, call Steve. Steve was my agent. So apparently they didn't have enough money for overtime.
That's funny.
So yeah, we were supposed to call if we went past 5 hours. But apparently we didn't, because the check came and it was $200, and so yeah, that's what you do that's what you get when you keep your calendars for 30 years.
That is incredible. That I would have never imagined that you would have your calendar from that long ago.
I know. Well, see, now I'm a writer, and so now I can pull those little details when I go back and write about my past. I can have all these little accurate little goodies in there that I normally, my brain would never hold on to for
Was that the goal when you saved everything, or is it just a happy accident?
No, no, it's a complete accident.
Okay.
Yeah, when I saved things, I had no idea I would ever even think about writing years later. So I was just an accident. I was
That's
just
great.
apparently very OCD, so I just saved everything. But they come in handy, for
Yeah.
things like this. Now
Yeah.
you guys know. We shot at a little studio on North Fuller in West Hollywood. I can't remember the name of the studio, of course, but I have the address if you want it.
Oh, I do.
Oh yeah.
We have to go visit this studio now.
Yeah, well, it probably isn't there, or maybe it's completely different. I don't know. It's been a while. But yeah, so I just auditioned for it, like most of the music videos that I did. We had these hideous, horrible auditions where you had to wear, really tight, awful spandex dresses and stand on the mark. And they would turn on music and you'd slate to camera, and then they'd say, just move and dance a little bit. And you have to try to look really sexy, without looking stupid. And you didn't want to be like stripper sexy, you just wanted to be sort of tasteful model sexy.
Were you dancing to Weird Al music? That's the question we need to know.
I probably wasn't. They usually just had some generic, whatever they had in their box at the time. And it would sometimes give you a prop, like a riding crop or a feather boa or something sexy, to play with. One time, one of them gave me a basketball.
No
she just said, "Try to look sexy and dance." I'm like trying my best, rolling that basketball all over my body, and yeah, I don't think I booked that one. But yeah, they were pretty hideous. They're all the same,
Yeah. Now, in this video, you were wearing. Now, speaking of outfit, you're wearing like a short black skirt. Your lipstick on, and your hair was slicked back, and of course, you were wearing the glasses and mustache. Now, is that your wardrobe that you brought?
No, that was their wardrobe. I did in my notes. It said, "Come with clean hair and face," which meant they did my hair and makeup, and it said, "Bring red nail polish and black pumps."
Wow.
Although I was looking at the video and those are not my pumps. So I think that they provided all the wardrobe and did our hair and makeup. Those were not our dresses. Those were, they were trying to duplicate the Robert Palmer video, obviously.
Right.
And so they got the details of the dresses and the, the musical instruments and everything to match. So yeah, those were not my clothes. That's not my real mustache.
That was my next question. Okay.
Hey, when we got on set, we were all completely done up and looked fabulous when they put us on set. And then someone realized they'd forgotten the glasses. And so they sent somebody out, like a production assistant or some poor soul, out to grab the Weird Al glasses last minute. Everybody's standing around waiting, costing, such a fortune. It's like these tiny little budgets. But anyway, so they sent him out and he came back with the glasses, but they were all reading glasses. So they had like magnification, to the lenses.
Oh.
And so they, put him on us and we were all just completely, well, by the end of the day, Kathy and I were laughing because we remember saying that we had Weird Al headaches by the end of the day because of wearing these glasses. And I have one image that somebody gave me, some snapshot of all of us on the stage. And it's like between takes and every single one of us has our hands on our glasses. It's like we're all looking in different directions and doing different things, but we're all holding the glasses to our face like, oh my God, get these things off of me. So yeah, it was not the most comfortable pair of glasses for us. It looked fabulous. And of course you can't tell in the video that we have terrible headaches.
Right. Because that's acting.
That's right. We're professional after all.
So now, did you shoot the entire song or did they know what segment they were going to use?
That's a good question too, and I don't remember the details. I don't think we shot like a whole, I'm pretty sure we didn't shoot like a whole 3-minute song one time.
Right. Okay.
Although I don't know. I don't remember. I honestly don't remember. I'm just thinking logically they would probably shoot little segments, but I don't know. I do remember they did a second setup. They did the close up of my legs. I don't know if you saw that sexy leg shot that I did.
Of course.
Yeah, my best work. Thank you very much. But yeah, they did a second little setup to get the close up of the legs, and so there were two shots. You know, the main shot, and then I think they shot some of Al without us. Pretty sure they shot some of him, where we weren't standing around him. But it was a 5 hour shoot. I'm sorry, my dog is barking again. I'm so sorry. My husband was supposed to come home and dog sit, and I realized, you know, in Arizona we don't change our clocks, and so I had the time wrong. So I don't have a dog sitter.
No,
that's
that's
why my dog is
totally fine.
in my lap barking. And I apologize.
And what is the dog? What is the dog's name?
His name is Joey.
Oh,
he's a horrible little chihuahua.
oh, okay. Like, no more explanation needed.
Yeah, you know the story there.
So Susan, how did you become the main? I mean, when you watch the video, you're the main person.
I am. You know, that was just pure luck. You know, and I don't know why I was picked. I think because of my great leg work.
Right.
But yeah, when they put us on stage, they're like, you know, and our dresses are different, you know, and again, they match the different girls. So I guess I looked the most like that girl that happened to be in that position where, you know, playing that guitar. Right. Kathy mentioned also this morning, she said, you know, none of us even knew how to hold a guitar. And I said, were you playing the bass guitar? And she was like, how would I know? I have a guitar phone number.
Oh,
so yeah,
great.
They just handed us our instruments, and Dana was on the drums. I remember that because somebody said, does anybody know how to fake, you know, playing a drum set? And Dana raised her hand, and so she was the drummer. But the other ones, I don't know how they picked us, but I was just lucky.
That's amazing. Yeah, so did you have any interactions with Al, or were you pretty separate from him?
We did. You know, it's funny. I don't remember like a lot of conversation with him, and I asked Kathy that as well, and she said, I just remember he was really, really shy, and we were surprised at how quiet he was, because, you know, you never know with, you know, when you go on a set like that, you're going to meet all kinds of people, and, you know, we don't know him. You just know what you see on television, and we sort of, I guess, expected him to be very sort of funny and outgoing and, you know, silly, and he wasn't at all. He was very, very quiet and very shy. So yeah, that's what we remembered. Yeah. Another reason why I was scared to talk to him at Soup Plantation, because, you know, he's very shy, so I didn't want to bother him.
Do you remember working? The director was Jay Levy, who was actually Al's manager. Do you remember working? Yeah, do you remember working? How it was like working with Jay as a director?
I don't remember that either. In fact, Kathy asked me if she said, "Did Al direct it?" And I said, "I don't remember." And she said, "I remember." She remembered Al giving us direction via someone else. So obviously there was a director. So Al was, you know, we were standing right beside him. And he was like, "Would you tell her to, you know?" And so obviously there was some other person directing. But yeah, I don't remember specifically meeting with him. I'm sure I did. I'm sure he was at the, you know, there all day. You're talking to us. I don't really remember the specifics. But it's been a while.
Yeah, that was right about the time that Al started really taking a big interest in directing. So I'm happy to hear that you said that he was doing most of the directing himself, probably.
That's what Kathy remembered. Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about these vampires that we hinted at.
Oh.
So I think at this time, Susan, if you could put Suki McMinn on.
Yes, well, here she is now.
Oh,
hi,
Suki. So for those the uninitiated, Susan, when you write fiction, so you're a writer in addition to being in a Weird Al video. There's more to you than just Weird Al video.
That's right. Well, there is now. You know. So.
You've written a series of vampire novels, and you do this under a pseudonym, Suki McMinn.
That's correct. I am Suki McMahon, and I'm also Susan McNabb. When I write fiction, I write as Suki, and when I publish, I should say fiction. And then when I write nonfiction, I write as Susan McNabb. For some reason, when I first started writing and getting published, I felt like I should separate those two things, you know, my serious, you know, writing from my frivolous vampire romances. But of course now, you know, several years into it, I realized, nobody cares. You know, I don't know what it was like something really important to do at the time. But it's so they are separated. But Yeah, I have a couple of vampire series as Suki. I have a new short story in an anthology that just came out a few days ago, actually, called Love and Bloom,
Oh,
with some other romance writers. It's a short vampire romance, and I have a couple of different. I used to write a ton of fan fiction, and so and I was Suki then, and so when I went to choose my pen name as a fiction writer, I just thought I'll keep Suki because all these fan fiction readers knew me as Suki.
hmm.
And then I just used my husband's last name is McMinn. And so I just used his name because you can imagine why I didn't hyphenate because my name would be Susan McNabb McMinn. So I thought I'll just, instead of using both names together, I'll be two different people. And so I use his name for my fiction.
Oh,
And then
that's
as
great.
Susan McNabb, I write nonfiction.
So tell us about the nonfiction.
Well, I used to be a newspaper columnist. That was like my serious grown-up job when I lived in North Carolina, and now I write about my life in Hollywood. And I have a book right now that I'm shopping to publishers that's called The Opposite of Famous, and it's about how I got into the business. I worked in Hollywood and worked in the business for 29 years, and
Wow.
so that's a pretty long time to be in that profession and in that town. And it's funny because when you're there, at the time it seemed perfectly normal, to shoot music videos and date famous people and go to these fancy places, and you're like, it's just your life, it seemed reasonable. Of course, now I look back and go, that was actually kind of an interesting life that I had, and so I write
Sure.
about it. And in fact, I have a chapter in my book about music videos, so your listeners would be very interested, I'm sure. And
Oh
I
my
don't
God,
think I
yeah.
mentioned, I don't think I mentioned Weird Al, believe it or not.
Well, you need to
I
rewrite
don't
this
think
book.
I said,
I think
there's still time to edit.
I need a sequel.
Yes. All
But
about
yeah,
Weird Al.
that's right. Well, yeah, I could write a whole book about that day. No,
Totally.
not really.
It was
But it was
June
an interesting.
21st. It was 12:30 to 5:30.
That's right. Very good. So yeah, that's what I write about now. I write about my life in Hollywood. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I mean, so
Yeah.
can you give us any preview of something aside from the music videos?
Yeah, I mean, every chapter is about a different aspect of my life. I did fashion shows, I did print work, I did commercials, I did a lot of extra work on film sets and television and commercials. I worked for Elvira for 17 years. I was her
I read that.
stand-in and I was her stand-in and her photo double, and then later her road manager. And I traveled with her all over the country. So she's in the book quite a bit. I dated Jerry Seinfeld for 8 years, and so he's in the book a little bit.
Cool.
And yeah, so I had a lot of little jobs on the side, which a lot of people in Hollywood do. And at the time, they were just, sort of meaningless, annoying things I had to do for money. But now I look back and go, they were pretty interesting too. That I taught acting for 7 years. I worked at a commercial production company. I was a makeup artist. I was an agent.
Wow.
It's just like you have to do what you have to do, to make ends meet. And so I ended up with a lot of stories. I worked with a lot of interesting people. I obviously had interesting people in my personal life, especially when I was with Jerry, because I met all these, great comedians and so yeah, that's what I write about.
Wow. Well, I really can't wait to read this book. So when it's coming
Well,
out,
thanks.
please let us know. We'd love to have you back on
Well,
to
thanks.
talk
I
about it
will.
more. And I've got so many more questions, so we'll definitely save it for next time. We look forward to following your travels. We can find you online at susanmcnabb.com. That's MCNABB for McNabb. And then, of course, we can follow your pen name, Suki McMinn. And that's sukimcmin.com. And you've got all the social media links on there. And we really look forward to reading The Opposite of Famous one day.
Well, thank you.
So please
Thank you
keep
very much.
us up
Thanks
to
for
date.
having me.
And
I will.
thank you again. Dave, I really want to thank Susan, Joey, of course, all of our listeners. I want to thank you and I for having obsessive collections that we can talk about for endless amounts of time. You can check out our podcast on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. It's at 2000inch and 2000inch.com.
And don't forget to call us at 347 Spatula. That's 347-772-8852. But really, you just need to remember spatula. 347-spatula. And let us know what you thought of this episode. And, wait, what? Frank's telling me we already have a caller. Frank, cue that one up.
Hey, Dave, Ethan, it's Kenneth. Just wanted to thank you both so much for doing this podcast. It has just brought so much meaning to my boring, miserable life. I'm much happier now, and it's just because of you two. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Wow, thanks, Kenneth. Such kind words. You're awesome. Again, that number is 347-SPATULA. We want to hear from you. If you like this podcast, please subscribe. It means a lot to us. We're on Spotify, iTunes, and even Google Play, as well as anywhere else you can listen to podcasts.
And this week, we are back on the road. Technically, it's my first Weird Al show of the year of the Strings Attached tour. I'm so excited. So together, Dave, you and I, we are seeing Al in Cleveland on the 6th. We're seeing him in Pittsburgh on July 7th. Then you're going home, and I continue on. I go see him in Toronto, and then I see him in Syracuse, and then we meet back up in Philadelphia.
Yeah, right. And if you'll be at any of these shows, please stop by and say hello. We'd love to meet you. Ethan will also be recording our concert reviews and releasing them as bonus episodes,
Yes.
which we're calling Centimeters, right? And we'll have a few more out over the next few weeks, so stay tuned for those as well.
And if you haven't seen UHF, now is probably a good time because we're going to be talking about it quite a bit this month, and you're going to want to have it refreshed, or if you haven't seen it, obviously you need, if you're listening to our podcast, just stop listening to our podcast and start watching that movie. It's very important. It's on DVD, Blu-ray. Even if you have a Laserdisc player, you can get it and watch it.
Right, and remember, if you're really old school, there's that Betamax release that you can track down.
Yeah, if you find a Betamax, send it to me, and I will send you any media of your choice. I'll send it to you on DVD. I'll send you my VHS tape from when I was a kid. Next week, we keep the train rolling on UHF. We get more interviews, more insights. We can't wait for you to see what is to come this month.
That was David Ethan's 2000-inch Weird Al Podcast, episode 9-inch.
That's not my real mustache.